Hello and welcome back to Book Break. So as you can tell, I am not Emma, but my name is Kevin from the booktube channel Irish Reader, and I am here on Book Break as a guest host for today, and I'm very excited. So for today's episode of Book Break, we are talking about the best new YA releases, and some of these books are currently out. You can go read them and enjoy them, and then some of them are coming out later on in the year, so you have that to look forward to. Okay, so let's talk about some best new YA releases, shall we? We shall. So the first book that I had to talk about is Onshantae by Gita Trelease. This cover is so pretty and so shiny, I kind of love it. This book is set in 1780s France, and it follows our main character, Camille. Camille's parents have recently died, and she is the sole provider for her younger sister and her abusive older brother, and she makes money for them and gets them food by using la magie. In this world, there is a magic system where you can turn scrap metal into coins, and that's what Camille does to provide for her family. She starts practicing a new form of la magie where you can change your appearance, and she ends up in the court of Versailles with Mary Antoinette and Louis XVI, and she ends up starting to gamble and earn a lot more money for her family. However, this magic system does have its repercussions and has its limits, so will she push the limits or will she not? You'll have to read to find out. If you love the French culture like I do, you're going to love this book so much, because this book just made me fall in love with France a lot more, and the magic system in this book is just so unique and different, and I just really loved how it was done. If you love France and like historical fiction, this is a book that's going to be right up your street. Now the next new YA release that I have to talk to you guys about is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Now this is the new book by Angie Thomas. She is the author of The Hate You Give, which was an amazing groundbreaking debut novel by Angie Thomas, and this is her next book that she has brought out, which follows a whole new character. Now this one follows a girl named Brie who wants to be one of the greatest rappers of all time, and her father was a really big hip-hop underground legend before he died, so she has really big shoes to fill, and then one of Brie's songs goes viral and stuff unfolds from there. Now if you are a fan of Angie Thomas's The Hate You Give, I would highly recommend you read this. Angie Thomas was kind of like one of those authors that I'm going to read anything she puts out, and this will not disappoint. It is just as good as Hate You Give. I just love how Angie Thomas brings in serious issues and is just able to educate people with her books, and I just find that absolutely amazing, so I would highly recommend this, especially if you love The Hate You Give. The next book that I have is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This book follows a guy named Jack who meets a girl named Kate at a college party, and they soon start to fall in love and their relationship starts to blossom. Then we find out that Kate is actually sick with sickle cell and she dies, and then Jack ends up reliving the same 3 months of when he met her up until she dies, and he tries to save her each time that he ends up reliving it. Now this book was a debut novel by Justin A. Reynolds, and I absolutely loved it so much. If you're a fan of Becky Albertalli, which I am, I absolutely love Becky Albertalli so much, then you're going to absolutely love this one, because this one reads very similar to Becky Albertalli's writing, and his characters in here are just so precious. I'm obsessed with the main character. I love him so much. Honestly, one of my favorite reads I've had so far this year, so I would highly recommend it. The next book that I have to talk about is Kick the Moon by Mohammed Khan. This book follows a guy named Ilyas who wants to write a comic book and create comic book superheroes, but unfortunately he is stuck in school doing his GCSEs. But then he becomes friends with a girl named Kelly who is done pretending to be someone that she's not. Then Kelly gets caught up in a toxic bet, forcing Ilyas to decide where his loyalties lie and what kind of man he wants to be. What I really like about Mohammed Khan's books is the Muslim representation, because I feel like it's something that's not really portrayed a lot in YA books, and I feel like we need a lot more of it. This one I also really enjoyed because, as I said, the main character is really into comics, and in this book it actually includes some of the comics that the main character draws. So yeah, here we can see some of the artwork that the main character does, and I just really enjoyed it, that extra element to the novel, and I just really enjoyed this. It's a nice little coming of age kind of book, and it just deals with some serious topics that really need to be discussed in YA books. So the next book that I have to talk to you guys about is Archenemies by Marissa Meyer, which is actually the second book in a new series by Marissa Meyer, with the first book being Renegade. So I can't really tell you too much about Archenemies because that would be spoilerish, and it's the second book in a series, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown about what Renegades is about. So Renegades is about a boy and a girl named Nova and Adrian. Nova is an anarchist and Adrian is a renegade. Renegades are people who have extraordinary abilities and basically like the superheroes in this world, and that's what Adrian is. Anarchists are someone who like want vengeance against the renegades, and that's what Nova is. So it's basically good versus evil kind of thing. This is just very fast paced and so much fun and so addicting, just like all of Marissa Meyer's books. So highly recommend this series. Also, these covers are really stunning. I love them so much in the new paperback editions, and yeah, I'd highly recommend. So the next book that I have to talk to you guys about is The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. Now this book comes out on the 11th of July 2019, and I've actually already read this book as an art copy, but let me tell you what this book is about because it is interesting. So this book is set in a futuristic world where there is this place called the Kingdom, which essentially is Disneyland, except it's now run by robots. So basically the people that work there are like cyborgs, and they're called fantasists, fantasists, and our main character Anna is one of those fantasists, which is basically like a Disney princess that works in Disneyland kind of thing, except they're called a fantasist in this novel and they're a robot. So it follows her life and working in the kingdom and her being famous and having to deal with all of this, and then a murder happens in the kingdom. Then it follows the build up to the murder and then also flashes to the actual court case about the murder. And I really liked the flashing between the court case and like the build up to the murder because I found it really interesting, and also the fact it's set in like a futuristic Disneyland was just so cool to me and I loved it. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would highly recommend you pick it up. And also the cover is stunning and I kind of love how it's like good versus evil on the cover, which is like such a good idea. And also if you're a fan of the show Westworld, I think you're gonna also love this book too. The next book that I have to talk about is one that's not out yet, and it is called Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And this is a book I am highly anticipating. It comes out on the 14th of May of this year and I'm just very excited for this book to come out. This is a rom-com novel where a guy named Alex falls in love with Prince Henry of Wales after they are forced into a fake relationship where they have to pretend to be best friends, but then they fall in love. Now I am highly anticipating this book and I've heard many great things about it and I just cannot wait to read it. Also the cover is just stunning. The fact it's a male and male romance where a guy falls in love with a prince, it just has me so hyped and I just cannot wait to read it. The next book that I have to talk to you guys about is one that's also not out yet, and that is No Big Deal by Bethany Rutter. It follows a girl named Emily who is going into her final year of school and she meets a boy named Joe at a house party and he becomes one of her biggest crushes ever. Emily and Joe start to get to know each other and Emily is also facing some challenges by her mother. She has a struggle to stay strong, stay true to herself and not to change for anyone. I'm just very excited for this book because Bethany Rutter is a very big voice in the debate about body positivity in the UK, so I'm very excited to see what her debut novel will come up with, and I'm just so excited for this book and I just think it's going to be really cute and I'm just highly anticipating it. And the next book that I have to talk to you guys about is Five Dark Fates by Kendar Blake. This is the fourth book in the Three Dark Crowns series and this comes out on the 3rd of September 2019. Now if you don't know what Three Dark Crowns is about, it follows three sisters who grow up on an island where only one of them can be queen, even though all three of them are entitled to the throne. When the triplets come of age, they have to fight to the death until there's one of them left, and that one is then the queen of the island. I am currently reading this series and I've fallen in love with this world. The world that Kendar Blake creates is just absolutely incredible, and the series is very dark in general and I just really enjoy it. I'm just very excited for the fourth book because I'm so invested in this series as it is, so I cannot wait to see what's going to happen and I just can't wait. 3rd of September needs to hurry up. And the final book that I have to talk to you guys is probably my most anticipated book for 2019, and it doesn't come out until December, which is really sad, but it's okay, and that is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, which is the second book in the Children of Blood and Bone series. This series is extremely popular, so I think a lot of us are anticipating the sequel. And this book is basically like Avatar: The Last Airbender meets Black Panther, and it's just such an amazing book. It's so fast paced, the writing is absolutely amazing. This is a debut novel also, and it was just amazing, and I fell in love with it so much. It was just so good, so I cannot wait for the second book, Children of Virtue and Vengeance. It's probably going to be my favorite read of 2019, and it's also my most anticipated of 2019. Like, I just cannot wait for this book. But yeah, if you haven't picked up this one yet, I would highly recommend so that you're ready for the second one when it comes out in December. So that is it for the best new YA releases of 2019. Let me know some YA releases that came out this year that you've been really enjoying, and thank you so much to Book Break for letting me be a guest host for today. My channel is going to be linked down below if you want to come over and see more videos from me. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So goodbye!